Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dentistry Unmasked. I'm David Rice. I'm here with my buddy.
Maragliano-Muniz, what is going on?
All good things. How about by you?
Oh my gosh, so good. So I'm in week 3 of a gut cleanse. So I'm feeling pretty
Ooh.
fantastic. So we can talk about all things wellness. Uchi, welcome.
It's perfect timing. I have a whole day on gut. It's like it's the center of the universe. It's the first life form. It's been here for 4 billion years. No better way to share what I do to help you and hopefully serve your viewers. Everything they need to do to feel better, look better, have more serotonin, have a flat belly, lucid thoughts. So I am gonna share all that's new with me with you.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh, I'm so excited. So
love
before
it.
you hopped on, I told David, I'm like, I should open my phone because I feel like every time I talk with you, I leave with like a shopping list. So
Uh,
last time David said he bought tequila, I bought apples. I'm like, we
It's fitting. That's fitting. He bought tequila. Okay, I can that makes sense to
I mean
me.
about apples too.
If tequila was first on her mind, though, she kind of knows something's going on there. So
Yes. It was Anastasia's fault. She likes tequila.
I mean, I'm not tequila averse, but it's like apples or avocados or nuts or something. I feel like I leave with all the pearls as far as things that we need to incorporate into our lives and our diets. So, what's new in the gut world?
everything's new. It's been such a what they found out about the gut and how it affects us is really shaking the foundation of medicine and nutrition. Because technically, if you hack into the wisdom of your gut, if you feed your 42 trillion single cell organisms what they want, you rest when you're supposed to, you move when you're supposed to, you manage stress. And the funny thing is, it's not much different than what your mother and your grandmother and your great grandmother told you. Like, eat your vegetables, go to bed on time. You've been inside enough, go outside and play. Forgive your brother. But now we know there's real science behind those four things. But also bacteria. Bacteria don't have a brain. They've never been on Dr. Phil, but somehow they like it when we're happy. They like it when we go to bed on time. They like fiber. They like it when we move. So this is really good. It's just a different way of looking at an old subject, but it might hit home for some people and make them better healthcare providers.
So, when would somebody now, like, I feel like people, all right, I'm just going to throw Rich under the bus since I don't think he can hear me anyway. So, I'm like, you should take probiotics. Like, you should maybe do things that are better for your gut because I think it'll help your overall like wellness and well being and support your athletic goals and different things that you want to do. And he's just like, whatever. So, knowing that, like, I know I like this topic and I know other
Mhm.
people might like kind of half be on the fence or half not. What are some like telltale signs other than the obvious that your gut might need a little rehab or a little help?
Yeah, great question. It has no difference to Richard's. Men are just not so into gut stuff. Women, their digestive tracts are longer, up to like 12 centimeters longer. The time that you go from mouth to butt food is about 14 hours longer. So women are definitely more involved, with the whole, their reproductive, organs. They push the gut in different ways. Men are more simple. I think we have one little cylinder we got to take care of. We just don't have we just don't have that much stuff to worry about. One hormone, one little cylinder, and here we go. So I don't. All deference to Richard, he's probably on the right track. He doesn't need to worry about as much. Women more so, and with autoimmune disease, 80% of people who suffer from autoimmune diseases are women, and autoimmune diseases are definitely related to gut health. It's definitely important then for women to be very gut aware. But to know something's not going well, is that what you're asking? To know something's not going
Yes.
well, I would think of fatigue for no reason. You're sleeping well, fatigue for no reason, which means your body's not absorbing and absorbing nutrients as well. Because there's only 30 human enzymes of digestion, but there's 10,000 enzymes of bacterial origin. So basically, they digest our food for us. So if don't have energy, there's a reason why. Also, mitochondria are originally they infiltrated the cytoplasm of cells 500 million years ago, and mitochondria make ATP. Mitochondria have a bacterial origin. I think they're called subendoepithelial organelles that entered the cell half a billion years ago. and they take oxygen and glucose and they give us ATP. So if you're low in energy, hey, it could be a mitochondrial issue, which is a bacterial issue. If you're lack, good lucid thoughts, brain fog again, pathogenic flora, they can break its way into the general circulation and cross the blood-brain barrier. So there's so many ways to look at it. Almost think of a chronic condition, bacteria involved.
That's really interesting. And I think that people make, I don't want to say, I'm going to say it. People make excuses for a different type of ailment. So they might be like, well, I'm tired, and they'll just drink more coffee, or they might just, do something, to try to mitigate that, when it really could be coming from the gut. Now, I know what I'm doing is like a little next level. It's like a whole 6-week thing. And then that's just the gut cleanse. And there's a whole rehab that's going to happen. Where's a great place to start? What are some things we can just do that will support our gut and helpfully turn things around a little bit?
People focus on the food. You'd be surprised how many people actually come up to me after one of my programs and go, Uche, I'm eating healthy. I'm getting good sleep. I exercise. I have a journal. And then when I know something's doing everything well, but it's still not working, I'm like, how is your relationships? They go, what does that got to do with my gut? If you have resentment or grievances, if you have people that you haven't forgiven, if you had, and believe it or not, childhood trauma that's never been forgiven shows up in the body. There's a really good book called The Body Keeps Score by Bessel van der Kolk. And he talks about stomach issues and certain organs that have issues. If someone has childhood trauma, they've never dealt with or acknowledged or gotten professional help on. So I'll ask someone, hey, how's your family relationships? Why'd you ask? That's the problem. Or do you like the dentist you work for? Are you happy with your team? Ooh, all of a sudden. So emotion, intangibles, personal, people have a hard time tackling that one. It's easier to buy a probiotic. It's easier to get an eye mask. It's easier to start working out. It's easier to eat an avocado. Dealing with personal challenges, which are just as interesting for the bacteria. The bacteria have no brain, but they have a consciousness. If we're upset or sad long enough, pathogenic flora love it when we're upset. Beneficial flora decrease in numbers when we're not happy. So you have a challenging marriage. You have a challenging work life. You have 20 years of not acknowledging what went on with the stepbrother or whatever it is, all of a sudden shows up in your gut. And that's a difficult conversation. But I think, professionals are ready for difficult conversations. We have them every day with our patients. Why not with ourselves?
Wow. So we're wired for all of these things. We're either feeding ourselves with great fuel all the way around 360, or we're not. That's fascinating. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're right. The more you share this, the more I think about being a 5-year-old and the lessons that, my mom and dad taught me and my grandparents taught me. And this is it. So how do you get people to, because I know you're very good at getting people to tackle those issues, but not all of us, maybe as leaders in our practice, are that good. How can we maybe help our teams and ourselves get a little healthier?
Yeah, great question. It's one thing to know it, it's another thing to do it, right? Like a good leader has ideas and walks the talk themselves. I think a big part of that is providing a safe place. It's one thing to say, anyone have any issues today during the huddle they need to talk about? Then someone says, oh, my dog is not doing well. Oh, a dog. That's all it takes for no one to say, oh, your dog. And now that person shuts down. And they'll probably never put their hand up at a huddle again. So if as a leader, just like in a relationship, we got to provide a safe place for someone to share where they're vulnerable. And that's a good relationship at home. And at work, you need to provide a safe place. If someone says, hey, my dog's really sick, my mind's occupied with my Cairn Terrier, no guffaws. Oh my God, that must be so tough. Tell me more. And now that person is able to relate. Everyone knows Sheila's going through a tough time. We give her a safe place to talk about it. And that begins the healing. I think Deepak Chopra, the medical doctor, author of like 80 books on psychoneuroimmunology, he said, the minute you give someone attention and you show them an active ear listening, that starts the healing. You don't have to get rid of the problem as much as just having a sounding board makes people feel better. And it's amazing. We don't have to solve the problem. Just an open forum makes people feel better. And I know I feel better at sharing. You don't have to fix me. I don't. Providing a safe place is something a leader could do.
Mm.
What about the leader themselves? So I feel like sometimes dentists feel like they can't share what's going on in their personal life with their team, or maybe they feel isolated, or maybe they just aren't comfortable sharing what's going on in their lives. Like, how do we as leaders have some sort of outlet that'll help our, emotional well-being, ultimately our guts and everything else?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, Brene Brown talks about being vulnerable. And if you look like you're always amazing, your car is always clean, it's detailed, hair is perfect, your shirts don't need ironing, you show the pictures of beautiful kids online, everyone stages the online world. It's hard to, I don't think we connect with people in our successes. I think as a leader, if we show where we're vulnerable, as a leader, why don't we go first? I have enough time, tough time. My teenage son right now didn't come home till 2 o'clock in the morning last night. So if I'm a little tired, I waited up. Now you don't seem like your life is so perfect. And now I feel I could be myself. But so I think when a leader shows willingness to be vulnerable, which is actually even more sensitive, powerful in nature, it makes a team be able to open up themselves. So providing a safe place, but also being vulnerable yourself, not, crying for an hour about your problems. We're talking about naming something, that's all that the leader, the ones that, they brought a Coors Light into the team room and they're slipping it, whether they're divulging their secrets, and being vulnerable, sharing where you're weak, and having a sounding board, and then say, thank you for listening. I really appreciate you guys. What a great team you are. Now, wow, you look perfect. The hair looks perfect. The dress looks perfect. The hair looks perfect. Now, wow, my leader's so approachable. I love this doctor. She's so real. He's so real,
That's a great point. Pam, you and I were talking earlier about how a lot of times as the leader, especially when we're younger and we're not confident, we feel like we need to portray this image like we have all the answers, everything is going well, and inside we're dying a little bit or a lot of it on the inside. So that's a really good point of striking that balance between like, hey, you're safe here, I'm going to take care of you, this is a great place to be, but you know what, I don't have all the answers and my life isn't is maybe as nice as it looks from the outside. This is just me putting on my mask and my cape to try to do my best job with you. But yeah, let's talk about some of those things.
Yeah, for sure. But also think we can't be so raw we break down. Like, it's nice to be vulnerable. You can't become a weepy mess, because there's a some amount of respect. Like, just like the president of the United States doesn't start weeping and crying. You can show vulnerability, a voice crack, but that's enough. You still got to be the leader. Richard Branson seems approachable, vulnerable, but you don't see him weeping, crying with Kleenex. You don't talk, so you really got to be, there's a range. You don't have to look perfect, but definitely shows some vulnerability is very attractive, I think, for a leader. Very attractive in a relationship. Like, sometimes you're dating someone, you think, oh my God, their life is perfect. Talk about being vulnerable once in a while, and it builds intimacy. And the gut connection, though, is that beneficial flora benefit from peace, emotional well-being, and pathogenic flora, E. coli, H. pylori, Candida, C. difficile, love it when there's disharmony, love it when there's a lot of grievances and resentment. And actually, the mucus lining thins in our GI tract when we're upset or stressed out. The mucus lining things. So if you're stressed out for a day, no big deal. You're stressed out for a summer, all of a sudden, gut membrane permeability, another name for that is leaky gut. And now you have pathogenic flora inside the general circulation, crossing possibly the blood-brain barrier, brain fog, food insensitivities, autoimmune issues. And it all stems from unfinished business or stress that thinned out the mucus layer. So that's where, we're talking about vulnerability, but that's how it impacts the gut lining. Stress, protein stress makes the mucus lining thin. And now you have pathogenic flora, which only should be in the gut, make their way into general circulation.
I have a business idea for therapists. Like, why don't they create their own line of probiotics? So you're helping them and then like helping to support them and support the bacteria in their gut. Does that make sense?
Look at you. You're thinking entrepreneurial. I'm thinking academic. I'm more of an academic, kind of nerdy guy. I need like I think Shakespeare had, Sir Francis Bacon doing his marketing. He was like just a genius playwright, but he had someone marketing those posters. So, but I really think I have 7 psychiatrists, not personally as patients. And yeah, no, I always have to make sure I have a caveat. I think only one of them I know in Toronto has a naturopathic doctor that works with him, and she does lifestyle counseling. Because when you talk to these psychiatrists, they say, you know what? So many of my patients have food sensitivities, allergies, fast food. They smoke, they have stimulant issues, they drink 10 cups of coffee, they drink Red Bull. I'm not generalizing, but they just say many times the diet is messed up that goes along with emotional challenges. So I only had one psychiatrist say I have a naturopath that talks nutrition. So, because if serotonin is made in the gut, Robin Chutkin, who wrote the book called The Microbiome Solution, said 90% of the serotonin, which makes you and me feel connected and cared for and part of a larger community, if it's made in the gut by the biome and in the interchromaffin cells, they're called. If you have gut dysbiosis, stress, and these bacteria are unhappy, and you're not being fed right, fiber and vegetables, they also can't make serotonin. So they've done studies. You can actually get yourself out of the blues by eating more greens. I didn't make that up. So the blues, being sad, can be offset by eating more vegetables. Now, this is where it starts getting wild. I think a lot of mothers know that. A lot of kids on the spectrum have a lot of food sensitivities, constipation. They eat a lot of stimulants. You get a kid eating healthy, all of a sudden emotions are more balanced. Just think about it. If you ate an arugula salad with wild chicken and blueberries and feta cheese, and I'm getting hungry here, and a balsamic vinegar and olive oil, you start chilling out. You eat a ball of cotton candy, 2 tequila, a hot dog and white bread, you're ready to go. I want to listen to Motley Crue live, So there's a sense of a calming meal and an exciting meal. And it's interesting how you look at that. Food definitely is a way to make you be happier and more connected, for sure.
So if you're going to eat your feelings, you're better off eating greens, blueberries, protein, and things that are going to support you rather than excite you and just bring you right back down.
Yeah, and comfort foods is the way to go. I think comfort foods, we love comfort foods, right? And there's actually science. I saw a Belgium study where they talked about the fact that comfort food, having sugar and fat in your stomach when you're stressed out, makes you manage cortisol better. So for a night, have an apple pie, have a little bit of ice cream. You do that every night, and now you got prediabetes. Now you have triglyceride problems. Now you got metabolic syndrome. So, but most of us though, the minute we solve a problem with one technique, boom, I'll use that all summer. It was my summer of apple pie and ice cream. And then now I'm living out that pre-diabetic results in the fall.
That makes sense. So how much truth is there to the whole, I mean, obviously we're talking about categories of foods on the nutrition side that are really good for us all in general. But what about individually? I've read some books along the way where, people start talking about like blood types and certain nutrition, genetically, like something that might be outstanding for you might be pretty good for me, but there might be a different outstanding for me. Is there truth to that or hype?
Yeah, great question. There's so much new stuff out there. I heard Peter Attia, he wrote a book called Outlive. And he said, everyone thinks we know so much about nutrition, but it's really at a kindergarten level. He actually said, scientists know more for sure about subatomic particles than nutrition.
Wow.
And I believe that too. In the year 2020, 24, they'll be looking at smiling how we thought about nutrition. So there's a thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people who know very little act like they know a lot. And then people like you, me, and Pam, who study all kinds of stuff all the time, we're the most humble, curious people ever. But you get someone who's read one ebook, all of a sudden they're a guru. So it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know for some people, the more they're confident they speak. And you and I are humble, we're sharing, we're reading. Pam's humble, we're sharing, we're reading. So something about always being learning. But this whole blood type thing has been shown not to work. It was definitely a nice book by Peter Giacomo. It's called Eat Right for Your Type. It didn't pan out. Eat Right for Your Type.
Ooh, that's so good to know.
Hey, tell you what happened though. What happened was actually I bought that book. I'll tell you my vulnerable story. So I bought that book in 1998. I bought it. I followed the diet. I followed this diet. And what happened was I thought, okay, great book. O diet. I photocopied the one chapter, bought all the O information. And all of a sudden I got lean. And all of a sudden I had to tell every patient I had, I love this book. Anyway, I went to give blood 2 months later and I was A. My blood type was A. So I had to eat some crow. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That, and the reason I asked is, I was a huge Wayne Dyer fan for years. And I remember seeing Wayne in the latter part of his life. And I think probably he was just hanging on to something because he needed something to hang on to. And at that stage, but it was just kind of fascinating to read, but just didn't make a lot of sense. So
yeah, no, it's
Pam.
yeah, it's that's the thing, I'm not sure if I take nutrition advice of clinical psychologists.
No.
I'm looking at a naturopath, and I think, like a team. If you're a healthcare provider, I want a medical doctor. I'd like a naturopath or functional medical doctor, massage therapy, personal trainer, nutritionist. Like, it takes a village. And you think when a high performance race car, like think of you and Pam, these high end dentists. When you stop at a pit stop, you don't buy cheap fuel and you don't get a budget car wash. You want the best fuel. You want the touchless car wash. You want the best stuff. And I think having a really good team keeps us on this dental track, looking good and feeling good for many years, instead of falling off the wagon with depression or sciatica, reflux, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So here we are in the summertime, and I think that a lot of people tend to make choices because it's sunny out, it's warm out, and I feel like it's just more conducive to healthier eating. What do you think is like, what's your go-to? Like, what's your fave right now?
Good question. I think people always look to me like there's an American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry conference on right now in Toronto. And they look at me under a magnifying glass. I go buy something, click, 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 click. I'm like Kim Kardashian at the Met Gala. I'm like, food is, the thing is though, I could eat bread and butter the whole weekend and really mess with people's minds, because technically we're all very different. If you have a lot of muscle, if you sleep well, and if you're happy, your metabolism is very metabolically efficient. And someone like Michael Phelps ate 10,000 calories a day. He's able to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches just to keep his weight on. So if I'm sleeping 8 hours a night, I'm lifting weights an hour, 4 times a week. I'm doing 2 nights a week of yoga. I do my cardio as interval training. What happens is all of a sudden I can get away with a lot. But if someone's a receptionist, sedentary, guess what? You may not be able to have, 2 sandwiches with 4 slices of bread. You might have to watch more. So people who sit all day have to be a lot more sensitive to their caloric intake. Or someone who's really busy, or someone who's really happy, or someone who sleeps well, even a man, we have more muscle. We can get away with stuff. So a lot of women who eat the same size meal as their husband, they're like, what's going on? Well, your husband has more muscle. That's why he's more metabolically active. He digests and absorbs the nutrients better than someone who doesn't have the same amount of muscle. That's why you got to be careful comparing people together. So when I think of my favorite foods, I love salads. If I could have a salad every day, that'd be the best thing. And variety is always tastes better. I love fruit. One of the biggest myths that fruit is fattening. I love seafood. I love sushi. Red wine and white wine, more red wine than white. Red, I'll actually dilute it. I'll put a little bit of seltzer in it or soda water to make it last longer. I can drink less and still look like I'm drinking and have that sense. So because drinking is such a social thing. If you announce at a party, I'm not drinking, all of a sudden, hey, why not? What's the deal? It's funny how you stand out when you have some kind of discipline. So that being said, seafood, salads, fruit, good quality meat, red wine, with a little bit of soda water in.
That's fantastic. One of my favorite things when I'm not drinking, because I kind of like ebb and flow with my drinking, just like put soda water in like a wine glass and it just like looks fancier, feels fancier, and nobody bothers you. So that's tremendous advice. So as we wrap up, not that everybody doesn't already know where to follow you, but where can we follow you, learn more, see where you're lecturing?
I'm a big fan of, I love my website. And if you have a contact page there, so it's just Dr. Uche, so druche.com. If they just put my name, if they put Uche Fitness Dentist, they will see my website, druche.com. My Instagram is @FitSpeakers. But if you look up my name, if you put Uche Fitness Dentist, boom, you'll see my bearded face there. So I'm kind of easy to find. In this day and age, I'm surprised when the police want someone, they can't find someone. Just put the person's name in, put beard, put truck driver, and you will find the guy. Like, I don't know, like someone's been missing for 5 years. Like, what the hell? They do not know what Google is. Go to the guy's Facebook page. He's watching his daughter play baseball. So
I know.
You're going to find Uche and some crime shows.
Exactly. All you have to do is think about it and it'll show up in a Facebook ad.
Yes.
True
sure.
story. True story.
Sure.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your time and for joining us. I know you're busy. You're like, going from lecture to vitamin D up in your car. I mean, so honestly, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. And I know you'll be back because I can never get enough of you. So thank you.
Yeah, I love doing this. I think anytime you find something new, I like to share. And I think they've shown that as a teacher, as a thought leader like you two, if you share, I open up space for more stuff to come in. If I was very selfish and kept it all to myself, my cup is full. But the Buddhists say if I pour out some tea, my cup is now emptier. And now the universe puts more stuff in. So I love sharing. I've created a little void here. So I am open to new stuff. Universe, send me some more information. Send me a book title.
That's phenomenal. Uche, this is amazing. Always good to see you. Pam, it's always great hanging out. Till next week.
Till next week. We'll see
Have
you
a good
then.
one, everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening to the show this week. And thanks to our guests and sponsors on this episode.
Please check out our social media at Dr. Pamela_Maragliano and at Dental Economics Official.
Or you can check me out at Ignite DDS or at Dr. David Rice.
And go to dentaleconomics.com to receive dental economics. You can choose to receive DE in print or digitally, and you can also get the details of our Principles of Practice Management conference on our website.
If you have topics or guests or anything you'd like to talk about on the show, send us an email to dentistryunmaskpodcast@gmail.com, and we will do our very best to make it happen. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.